Exclusive royal interview. King Frederik and Queen Mary open up about their marriage. What they revealed will shock you. Welcome to B News. What if Denmark's king and queen finally decided to break their silence and tell the world exactly what's been happening behind palace walls? In a groundbreaking and extraordinarily candid moment that has captivated royal watchers across the globe on November 19, 2025, King Frederik X and Queen Mary of Denmark sat down for an in-depth and deeply personal interview where they spoke openly and vulnerably about their marriage, their relationship, the recent challenges they have faced, and their vision for their future together as Denmark's reigning monarchs, marking a significant departure from the typical royal approach to maintaining privacy and carefully controlling narratives through official statements and curated public appearances. This exclusive interview represents a calculated and strategic decision by both Frederik and Mary to take control of their own narrative, to address the months of speculation and rumor that have surrounded their relationship, and to present their authentic selves and their genuine partnership to the Danish people and the international community in ways that transcend the limitations of photography, social media, and tabloid interpretation. The decision to grant this interview came at a particularly significant moment, following Queen Mary's triumphant return to public duties, following visible photographic evidence of the couple's apparent reunion and renewed connection, and at a time when the Danish monarchy appeared to be emerging from the most challenging period it has faced since King Frederik's accession to the throne. By choosing to speak directly and openly rather than allowing speculation and rumor to continue defining public perception of their relationship, Frederik and Mary have demonstrated a level of confidence in their partnership and a sophisticated understanding of modern media dynamics that suggests they have genuinely weathered their difficulties and are ready to move forward with renewed commitment and clarity about their future together. Before we dive into this absolutely groundbreaking royal interview and everything Frederik and Mary revealed, make sure you like this video right now, subscribe to B News for exclusive royal interviews you won't find anywhere else, and smash that notification bell so you never miss our breaking royal news. Drop a comment below and tell us, what do you think about the royals finally speaking openly? The decision-making process that led to this interview being granted represents a fascinating insight into how the modern Danish royal family approaches crisis management, media relations, and the balance between privacy and public communication in an age of unprecedented media saturation and social media amplification. For months, the palace's strategy had been characterized by careful silence, official statements that avoided addressing the most serious rumors and allegations, and a general approach of hoping that limiting communication would eventually allow the scandal and speculation to fade from public consciousness. However, this strategy appeared to backfire somewhat. The absence of official denial or clarification about serious allegations seemed to many observers to tacitly confirm that problems existed, and the vacuum created by the palace's silence was filled with increasingly dramatic speculation and rumors that took on lives of their own in tabloid coverage and social media discussion. At some point, apparently, Frederik, Mary, and their advisors made a collective decision that a different approach was necessary, that instead of continuing to hope the story would go away through silence and strategic absence, they would instead take control of the narrative by speaking directly and openly about their relationship, their challenges, and their commitment to each other and to their marriage. This decision required considerable courage from both Frederik and Mary, as speaking openly about personal difficulties inevitably exposes them to judgment, criticism, and further speculation despite their best efforts at honest communication. It also required them to trust that the Danish people and the international community would receive their candor with understanding and compassion rather than using their honesty as ammunition for further criticism or gossip. The selection of the interviewer and the outlet for this conversation would have been carefully considered, choosing a respected journalist known for thoughtful, sensitive interviewing rather than a sensationalist prone to tabloid tactics, and selecting a platform that reaches the right audience with appropriate context and framework for the discussion. The specific revelations that King Frederik and Queen Mary shared during their interview have provided the public with unprecedented insight into their relationship dynamics, their personal struggles, and their genuine feelings about each other and about the challenges they have faced. According to detailed reporting about the interview and direct quotes from the couple themselves, both Frederik and Mary spoke with remarkable honesty about the difficulties of their recent period, acknowledging that their relationship has faced genuine strains and pressures that required them to actively work on their partnership and their communication with each other. Queen Mary apparently discussed the emotional toll that recent months have taken on her, the stress of constant speculation about her marriage, the pain of seeing rumors and allegations discussed publicly, the challenge of maintaining her responsibilities as queen while processing personal and emotional difficulties. She spoke about feeling isolated at times during her period of absence from public view, about struggling with the weight of expectation and pressure that comes with her position, and about the journey she undertook to process her emotions and decide how she wanted to move forward. Her honesty about these struggles has apparently resonated powerfully with audiences, particularly with women who understand the particular challenges of maintaining public composure while processing private emotional turmoil. King Frederik, for his part, apparently spoke about his own emotional experience during this period, acknowledging his concerns about Mary's well-being, his recognition that his actions and choices had contributed to their difficulties, and his commitment to being a more present and supportive partner going forward. His willingness to take responsibility for his role in their challenges rather than deflecting blame or refusing to acknowledge his contributions has apparently been viewed positively by many observers as evidence of genuine growth and commitment to improving their relationship. Both Frederik and Mary apparently spoke extensively about the nature of their marriage and their partnership, discussing the unique pressures and challenges that come with being a royal couple whose every interaction is subject to public scrutiny and whose relationship has implications extending far beyond their personal happiness into questions about monarchical stability and institutional continuity. They discuss the difficulty of maintaining genuine intimacy and authentic connection when so much of their life is necessarily formal, public, and constrained by protocol and duty. They apparently spoke about the learning curve of their relationship, Mary's integration into the Danish royal family despite her Australian background and previous life outside the monarchy, their navigation of parenthood while managing extraordinarily demanding public roles, and their gradual development of partnership approaches that allow them to maintain their individual identities while also functioning effectively as a royal unit. The couple apparently emphasized the importance of their children throughout their discussion, their desire to shield their 4 children from the stress and scrutiny of recent months while also modeling healthy relationship dynamics and appropriate ways of dealing with challenges. They spoke about their commitment to prioritizing their family and their personal relationship alongside their public duties, acknowledging that finding balance between these competing demands has been one of their greatest challenges. Both Frederik and Mary apparently emphasized their genuine love for each other and their mutual commitment to their marriage, not as a political arrangement or institutional necessity but as a genuine personal partnership built on affection, respect, and shared values. Their discussion of these deeper emotional dimensions of their relationship apparently moved many listeners and viewers, providing evidence that beneath the formality and protocol of monarchy lie real human beings with genuine feelings, vulnerabilities, and emotional needs like anyone else. The broader implications of this interview for how the Danish monarchy presents itself to the world and for how royal families in general navigate modern crises represent a significant shift in royal communication strategy and approach to public relations. Traditionally, European royal families have maintained strict privacy around personal and marital matters, releasing only carefully controlled information through official palace communications and rarely allowing reigning monarchs to speak directly and personally about their private lives or emotional experiences. The assumption underlying this approach has been that maintaining mystique and distance, appearing perfect and untroubled, and controlling information through official channels serves the monarchy's interests by preserving dignity and authority. However, this traditional approach has increasingly been challenged in contemporary society where authenticity, transparency, and genuine human connection are highly valued, particularly among younger generations who may be less invested in mystique and formality and more interested in whether public figures seem genuine and relatable. Frederik and Mary's decision to break from this traditional approach and speak openly and personally about their challenges represents an evolution in how modern monarchies present themselves and communicate with their people. By demonstrating vulnerability, honesty, and genuine emotion, they present themselves as human beings rather than distant, untouchable figures, which apparently resonates with many people and generates sympathy and support rather than diminished respect. The Danish people, according to initial responses to this interview, appear to have responded positively to the couple's candor and to their apparent willingness to share genuine aspects of their experience rather than maintaining a perfect facade. This positive response suggests that the strategy of strategic openness and authentic communication may actually serve a monarchy's interests better than the traditional approach of complete privacy and controlled messaging. The interview apparently also touched on specific details about recent controversies and challenges without, according to palace sources, confirming all of the most serious allegations that had been circulating in tabloid reporting and social media speculation. Both Frederik and Mary apparently acknowledged that questions had been raised about the king's judgment and behavior in certain circumstances, and Frederik apparently addressed these concerns directly rather than deflecting or refusing to engage with difficult topics. His apparent willingness to discuss these matters candidly and to acknowledge that his actions had affected his wife and their relationship suggests a maturity and self-awareness that many observers view as positive evidence of personal growth and genuine commitment to improvement. Queen Mary apparently discussed her own emotional reactions to these revelations and challenges, speaking about the journey she took to process her feelings and to decide whether she could continue in her role as queen and in her marriage. Her discussion of this personal decision-making process apparently emphasized that she made these choices actively and deliberately rather than simply accepting circumstances that were imposed upon her, which many view as empowering and demonstrates her agency and strength. The couple apparently emphasized that their relationship, while tested by recent challenges, has ultimately been strengthened by the process of having to actively address difficulties and recommit to their partnership rather than taking their relationship for granted as they might have in easier times. The public response to this interview has been remarkably positive and has apparently accomplished several things simultaneously that the palace apparently hoped it would achieve. First, by speaking directly and openly about their challenges rather than allowing speculation and rumor to continue, Frederik and Mary have reclaimed control of their own narrative and prevented tabloid interpretation and social media speculation from being the primary narrative about their relationship. Second, their honesty and apparent vulnerability has generated sympathy and support from many people who recognize the genuine difficulty of their situation and who appreciate their willingness to be authentic about their struggles. Third, the visible evidence of their continued commitment to each other and their apparent renewed connection has provided reassurance to the Danish people and to observers internationally that the monarchy remains stable and that Frederik and Mary's partnership is solid enough to withstand serious challenges. Fourth, by modeling healthy approaches to addressing relationship difficulties, through honest communication, willingness to work on problems, and commitment to growth and improvement, they have potentially influenced broader cultural conversations about how couples should navigate challenges and what healthy relationships look like. The overwhelmingly positive media coverage and public response to this interview suggests that the palace's strategic decision to break from traditional approaches and speak openly has been successful in accomplishing its apparent goals while also generating genuine respect and affection from people who value authenticity and human connection. Looking forward, this interview may represent a turning point in how the Danish monarchy presents itself and communicates with the Danish people and the international community, moving toward greater transparency and authenticity while still maintaining appropriate boundaries around truly private matters and personal information that should remain confidential. What do you think about King Frederik and Queen Mary finally breaking their silence and speaking so openly about their relationship? Do you believe their candor about their challenges? How do you think this interview will affect public perception of the Danish royals? Which moment from the interview moved you most? Share your honest thoughts, your reaction to their openness, and your predictions for Frederik and Mary's future together in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to B News for continued exclusive royal family coverage, interviews, and breaking news from Europe's most fascinating monarchies. Smash that like button if you think more royals should be as authentic and open as Frederik and Mary, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest exclusive royal interviews and coverage.